So, being Puerto Rican and from New York, were you a fan of Terror Squad?
Of course. I
Did
was
you?
I was a fan of Joe before Terrence, even his characters when Joe was just Joe and Money Man and you see him stepping up there with Cool G Rap and when he was first Joe. And anything that was Spanish, Frankie Colors, anything. You get my point? If it was Puerto Rican that made music, I was fucking with it.
So, did you ever get a chance to meet any of them?
Yeah, I've met Joe, of course, and we're not like friends, but we sat at tables at Jimmy's Cafe. I met a lot of the rap industry when I was coming up, of course. I got the ability and the opportunity to meet a lot of, in my days, the Dougie Freshes, Wu-Tang and all of them in that sense that I was doing movements and they were supporting it. So the music industry's always been attached to the activism.
And you and I, we spoke on the phone, and you really wanted to touch on this to kind of show the other side of things, right? To preach more about the unity that you said, if you can forgive somebody that tried to kill you, then people should be able to forgive kind of bad business decisions or other things that happen within the music industry. Can you share how you feel about the whole Cuban Link versus Fat Joe situation?
Well, like I said, like I did in Vlad, right? When he kept trying to tell me about Lord Gino, I told him, I'm from New York. That's my leader. I know him and I love him and we support him. But I can't talk about something I don't know. I'm very careful of that. But I know this, right? I know I'm Puerto Rican. I'm not from New York. And I go back to the rap game all the way from Fatback. And we had our rap crews. We had Sound Invasion. I had Space Out Crew. We broke dance. I did graffiti. I touched that life. And I've been to the fun house. I worked for Studio 54 as a busboy. I've been in the music game, I've been around it. I live for it. I met Camacho. So what I'm saying, when I seen the Bronx come up and the Latino brothers come up in the Bronx, it was big because KRS One and a lot of the black community was the one really getting the recognition for the rap game when it was a multicultural that brought rap to and Latino, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans have a big part in it. But Fat Joe was like I was when I came out to King Tone and the gangster that had a different image. Fat Joe was that Puerto Rican, right? At that time that came out and blasted that shit. And he was full of life. And it was so good and proud to see him up there. The same with Pun, the same with Cutlass, the same with Cuban, the same with all of them in Terror Squad. Like I said, the more famous ones and the ones that are less known, Tony Sunshine and all the supporters, Charlie Hustle, and then the freestyle group that was around that crew, because they make Puerto Rican rappers from all boroughs start heading to the Bronx to see Joe, to see Pun, to see the whole thing. We had to be part of it. They had to accept our rap. If they say we were good, we could join that little crew, and that was your way to get it right. The Latinos finally had someone in the game. And I also know the people from the Bronx that supported Fat Joe and Cuban Link, if they know. I know Money Man. His brother knows these people. I know Joey Messinette, the Messinette's brother, the Case. I know Chinaman. I know Boy George. I know all the money that was supporting the rap game when the capitalistic people still didn't support us. We were using street capital to get on the stage and to get what we needed to go to look as good as the other rappers. And that was the brothers that were hustling would lend us their shit to shine on camera. So my point is, so I've been with the people in jail that really are behind the rap scene that know Joe, knew Cuban and all that. Let me clear one thing. I've been with people that are really close to them and never have I sat in a place where someone showed me black and white on Joe. And I've been with his people. I've heard a lot of things, but I never really seen that. I know people said they put it out there. And I told this Joe over my show with Serious Tone. I said, Joe, when they call you hot, I don't agree with it, but it always gives you the opportunity to speak your voice and answer it with truth and then move along. Like 6ix9ine, he always tries to say he's not hot, but he's hot. He does it his way, but that's the truth, right? Joe is a question. So there's questions in that. There's questions in his business deals. There's questions how he dealt with Big Pun. Let me tell you what Joe did for me when me and Big Pun. So what happened was there was a situation, Frankie Cutlass, fell out of grace. They had a little family dispute there. Someone said Son Slick, and at that time, people believed Frankie Cutlass was a king. So I went to talk to Joe about it. It bothered me. I didn't like that it came out on the radio and they were portraying my nation as like punks, right? So I went. Joe was man enough to bring Pun. We sat on the table in Jimmy's Cafe. We talked about the problem. The brother was very respectful to me. So was Pun. Pun fell in love with us, and I fell in love with Pun. And he was going to come out with his album, so they needed to put out all his, all the posters up. And I really told him the Kings will do anything for you, Pun and Joe. We'll do anything as a support. We there for you, the Chicago. We all love y'all. All we want y'all not to forget us, right? To tell our stories like they tell their stories. And that's what my relationship was with them and listening to their music. A lot of people say Joe was Pun a king. No, he supported the King movement and he loved us very much. And he had a lot of friends, but he wasn't. And we call him an honorary king because of who he was to us and what he did for us and how he united the Latino community over music. Joe always had our respect and never have we had tall. When they wanted to become a part of this nation, remember, you got choices. This is why I say change. Joe and a lot of brothers didn't choose the gang, and then when they had to, all the drug dealing, they chose their career, and that was a good choice. That doesn't make them punks. And lastly is this, if someone don't get paperwork or you don't know the truth, and it's debatable, and it makes people question each other's ethics and cause division in the community, this is what I'm teaching. Do you really got to talk about it? When I go to the graveyard and I go visit a dead person, I go visit him with respect, not turning around bones and find out of his past and find out while I'm walking the graveyard, does he deserve me to go to the graveyard? I go there to show respect without turning old bones and bones, to learn history, go show respect and leave without turning the dead bones so they could rest in peace, regardless what I know. So what I'm saying, our brother Pun been resting for a long time, or has he? It is us that keeps a spirit at unease when he sees his loved ones fighting and disputing things that are really irrelevant to the big fact that the only one hearing the noise is the community and not him. And he can never come back for them to do him right and to fix the wrongs they did. The way we could honor Pun, Cuban, Fat Joe, all of us, is to sit at a table and squash that dumb shit and say where we hurt and where we mad, and maybe we'll never talk again, but we'll never divide our community again over our differences. Because two damn men's difference of an emotion should not divide a young generation in rap music of who's good and who's bad. That's not the subject. Are we gonna move on forward and honor his name with a unity and respect, and where we stop arguing this foolishness of what's happening in a time where Pun is never gonna benefit from what the fuck we're doing right now? His music gets put to the side. The beauty of what Terror Scott was goes to the backstage of the division and the hurt. Every family, I could talk about 2,000 kings. I could talk about every wrong the nation did to me. I could talk about the hot people that betrayed me in the nation. You never hear a show where I do that. It has no relevance today. It can't help nobody get better. It only makes them mad and argue about something they can't change in the past. We're divided about. How about we unite about one common goal? That Joe and the Terror Squad and Pun were a lighthouse in our community. And like the Young Lords and the Black Panthers, things went awry. And sometimes things fall apart. But that doesn't mean we're enemies and we will remain enemies till the day we die. That means we should learn from the history, then get together and tell the true story of the pain, of where we failed, but tell it as a group so they see the story of each character and they see the environment, the time, and what made these bad decisions and this hurt. And then how you're going to forgive them and put them in the side so the Latino could have guys like Cuban and Joe with the knowledge and the history as credible messengers in the music system, and how we could divide a family and how it could break you, how you could overcome it and come back. How you could make Terror Squad a voice today of unity, not of division. Again, Boy, I could talk about the brothers who did me wrong and put me in jail after I loved on them and ate with them motherfuckers and blah, 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 blah. And I haven't seen Pun cut an album yet. I haven't heard him talk his part of the story yet. And the sad part, we never gonna hear his side, what he wishes for Joe and Cuban. But my heart, after the man I seen on the table, and the way he didn't want me and Joe and us to go to war over some stupid shit his brother said, and he said it's stupid, Tone, and you acting stupid, that's just like Tone. That's what Pun told King Tone. Pun told King Tone right at the table for Joe. He said, Tone, you being stupid. That shit's so stupid. Like he was the nature of it, and he laughed. He ordered food. It was so small, that bullshit to him. His bigger picture was my album's coming out and I'm gonna go platinum, Tone. Help me get my message out. And I said, damn, that's the thing, not the shit I'm arguing about. I have to help him blow up. If I pay attention to this beef, I would have never met him. I would have never understood why he cut that album and what he wanted and how he already knew he was the best. And I never forgot that. Like I never forgot my experience with Biggie. Pun was the real thing. He stopped the beef and he made me and Joe understand that it was minute to the bigger picture of our success. And that's what I shared to Cuban and Joe. I'll be there at the table. We need to get back together and get this shit out and say our hurts. But real men don't have to hit each other. Animals fight when they can't communicate. We got voices. We got the experience. We should put it at a table, leave it there, and give our audience what they've been waiting for. Good music, good message, and healing. And Cuban, I love you, man. I stand with you. And Joe, you know I always give you respect. I'm not here to judge none of you and tell you who's right and wrong. I'm telling you, you're brothers in the beginning, and you'll be brothers at the end. Because you cannot take the Puerto Rican blood out your vein. You can't take what made you brothers out. And that's why you're so angry at each other. All it takes is forgiveness. I forgave those who hurt me. My life is better. I stay away from those that after I forgave them and they forgave me, we still can't see each other because it hurts too much of what we said and what we did. But we don't give that poison to the community. When we have to, we stand by side and we give the image of respect has a place at this table. Not confusion, not division, and not all this gossip. He's hot, I'm hot, but fuck that shit, man. I don't do that. I don't do that game, and I don't care. I know a bunch of hot niggas in the industry that's saying they not hot. Why would I spend my time on that? I spend my time talking about the real brothers, the ones that are not, the ones that are giving back and doing what they got to do. So that's what I tell the terror squad. We waiting for you. We love you, bro. I don't know their personal, but all yous that are listening to this beef between them, if all of yous would leave messages for them to sit down and talk, and maybe like when we seen the battle between the Locks and the brothers there, that was not. Imagine if we had one of those battles with Latino rappers and our community there, and showing that we don't come with the hate. We're gonna come and use this to reunite ourselves in a positive manner. Then I'm fucking with you. But right now, I don't even listen to them no more because I turn it on. I know what I'm gonna hear. Not their music, not the beautiful thing that made them special to me, but I'm gonna hear the dirty laundry that they put out there. So we could lose that beautiful image we had. All of us got that laundry, even families. Keep it in the house. Be man enough to shake it up and see each other and walk away knowing that we're not going to divide our community because our hearts are divided. And that's my message to them. And that's a respect. You know, like I said, I'm not going to drop a bone on a man that I don't know. And I'm King Tone. I'm not going to hurt a man when I'm not sure. Now, you hot. I ain't got no problem saying you hot, like 6ix9ine. And if you hot and nobody knows it and I know it, I only tell the person you can hurt that's next to you that doesn't know it. Hey, whatever you do, know this dude is this. Don't hurt him, no nothing, but I know this. You get it? And that's all a man's job is to do, man, not to keep old bones alive and not let a brother we love as Big Pun rest in peace, knowing that his people left that shit at rest for the respect that we have for him and what he brought to our community and Terror Squad brought. They brought the picture of united Latinos, making good music and showing the world that we got it too, that we could bring our stars up too, There's many more now up. There's reggaeton. There's so much that came out of us Latinos in the past stepping up and grabbing that mic. There's so many DJs, there's so many beat makers that we don't know, and the world doesn't understand that are Latino and Puerto Rican and Dominican. And that could be brought out to light by the Joes, by the Cuban Links and the Terror Squad and those from the past, bringing that hope and how they made it instead of how they fell apart.